Now in today's video, we're going to be running through my team selection ahead of Matchday 10 for UCL Fantasy. Now before we dive into today's video, we are extremely close to hitting 12,000 subscribers, so if you do want to help us hit that historic milestone, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, liking, and of course getting your comments in as well. And if you do want to see more UCL content throughout the rest of the season, and of course heading into next season, make sure you're liking the video as well so I know to keep producing these videos. As you can see on screen, this is how we got on in Matchday 9. Pretty much a really good week for me. A green arrow, we ended up going from 14k to 10k, so we can't really grumble at that too much. Of course, we got our captaincy decision right as well. We went for Dembele. He was the top choice that we obviously were looking at in that first day. I said I had a confident feeling he was going to do exceptionally well. We put it on him, and he certainly did not disappoint. As you can see, only Barcola, a real disappointing player from the PSG lineups. In terms of Garassi as well, he was a really good pickup. Bellingham as well came in clutch with that late goal as well. And then Gatti as well with an assist and a decent amount of ball recoveries as well. So I'm definitely a big fan of him. I hadn't really heard of the guy heading into Matchday 9. We put him in the team. We gave him a little bit of faith, and he certainly delivered as well. Also picking up a man of the match. So you can't really grumble at that one too much. So I think we're in a pretty decent position heading into Matchday 10. Of course, we do have our 2 free transfers, and we're going to talk about them and how we're lining up with our team. But first, let's take a look at the betting markets heading into Matchday 10. So this is the projected goals and the clean sheet numbers over the next few weeks. And as you can see, it's probably kind of, I would say, flipped around. Obviously, the home team having the advantage rather than the away teams. We saw it kind of in the last leg as well. PSG, strong favourites to go and win their game again with strong projected goal numbers, decent clean sheet numbers. So we are probably going to look to keep most of our PSG players. Barcola is probably the only one I am eyeing up potentially replacing. Moving on to the Real Madrid game, as you can see, they are fancied to go and get more projected goals. So I'm very tempted to go and pick up another Real Madrid attacker, whether that be Kylian Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. I'm slightly leaning more towards Vinny. I just think he's been a more of a big moments player so far this season. In terms of that Benfica game as well, I'm really tempted to try and find a player for that one. So potentially something to look at there. And then moving on to the PSV Juve game, not looking great in terms of the clean sheet projections, so potentially we could be looking at a potential replacement for Gatti there as well. I know he did really well for us in Matchday 9, however I think we potentially could be better off switching to a team with a higher percentage chance of a clean sheet. Maybe looking at a Bayern Munich defender if we get early kind of team news again, and maybe switching that one up as well. Dortmund, again, they're fancy to do quite well, but with them being 3-0 up, I think they potentially could rotate a little bit. Obviously, they're not doing too well in the league at the moment, and they might want to try and get some kind of course back on track with that, or they might go full strength, just secure their place in the next round of the Champions League with nothing else really to play for this season. Of course, it is all kind of, tight and tense between Bayern Munich and Celtic heading into this round. 2.46 projected goals for them, 48.8% chance of a clean sheet. They are favourites, and I thoroughly expect them to add to their already big advantage. So again, we're going to keep with Kane, we're going to keep with Musiala, we're going to keep with Elise, but it would be nice to potentially add a defender to that mix as well with really good clean sheet numbers. Atalanta as well, of course, we've got a defender and a attacker from them. So hopefully they can deliver on home soil. And then finally, Milan do have, of course, that 1-goal deficit to overcome against Feyenoord. 1.88 projected goals, a 43.5% chance of a clean sheet. Of course, we do already have Mayan and we have Hernandez from the defensive perspective, but it would potentially be nice to go and get maybe an attacker or a midfielder to obviously kind of combat that 1.88 projected goals. Those were the betting markets. Let me know what you think of those numbers down in the comment section below, and let's head into my team selection for Matchday 10. Wasting no time, let's dive into this team selection then, starting off first with our goalkeepers and defenders. Like I said, I'm pretty happy owning both Hernandez and Mayan heading into this fixture. Of course, they've got the home advantage. They need to go and win. They also have decent betting market clean sheet odds as well. So I think the double up potentially could be beneficial there. Of course, we do have Hakimi and Pacheco on the bench as well to come in if we do require both of those. Obviously, with, again, PSG having really good clean sheet numbers heading into that home fixture. I'd probably say our weakest defender heading into this week is going to be Gatti, just on the clean sheet percentages. Of course, it is going to be a difficult fixture away in Eindhoven. So potentially he could be one of the players that we do, of course, look to potentially replace this week. I think if I was to go for anybody, maybe we potentially could go for the double up of Atalanta defenders, but I think the primary probably focus for me is, of course, going to be picking up a Bayern defender. I feel that's probably the area that we do potentially need someone. Of course, with them playing on the Tuesday as well, we're probably going to have a good idea of who is going to be within that starting lineup. So that potentially could be worth a transfer there. Like I said, with those low clean sheet percentage opportunities for Gatti, I think he potentially could be one of the players that doesn't score great this weekend. I think everybody else, though, has a decent opportunity to get a clean sheet. All of them are really, really good with ball recoveries. And, of course, Hernandez and Hakimi as well, both from an attacking standpoint, are going to put us in pretty good stead. I'm not going to replace my goalkeeper either. I know like De Gregor hasn't got the greatest fixture, but for me, goalkeeper transfers just feel like a bit of a waste, to be honest. There's not too much upside with the goalkeeper transfers. Max they can realistically score is going to be 6 to 7 points if they get some saves. If they get anything else out of that, it's a bonus. But yeah, I don't think taking, wasting a transfer on a goalkeeper is going to be worth it, in my opinion, especially when we've got Mayan with a decent fixture and decent clean sheet odds heading into the game on Tuesday night. Let's move on then. Let's take a look into our midfield. It is going to be Musiala, Bellingham, Dembele, Elise and Barcola on the bench for now. Musiala, of course, and Elise play on Tuesday. I wasn't actually too impressed with Musiala in the reverse fixture at Celtic. I don't think he really got himself too involved in the game. Elise seemed to be absolutely everywhere. Obviously scored his goal from outside the box. I wasn't, again, overly impressed with his performance either. I thought he could definitely have done a lot more for the side. And it did seem at times he was obviously being dragged out wide and kind of, there was points where he was picking the ball up from his own defenders. That's not really where I want to see my UCL assets. I do want to see him a little bit further up from the field. However, with those strong projected numbers from the betting markets, I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to leave both of those guys in the side. Bellingham had a little bit of a stinker at the weekend. I think he'll still play this game in the UCL for Madrid, but of course, he did pick up a red card in a 1-1 draw at the weekend. So not a great result for Madrid. Obviously, City, on the other hand, absolutely thumped Newcastle. So maybe it's going to be one of those where, of course, they are a little bit dejected of confidence. Of course, City need to go into this game. They need to win this game. So potentially that could be another area that we do go and look for. But 1.88 projected goal involvements for Real Madrid heading into this match from the bookmakers. And of course, Bellingham as well with that crucial goal right at the end that could be the decider. I do feel he could also have another impact on this game. Dembele, he got himself a rest over the weekend in PSG's 1-0 win. So I think that bodes quite well for his minutes and probably security. Barcola, on the other hand, played 74 minutes. And like I said, I feel with PSG already being 3-0 up, we might see potentially some rotation within that side. Maybe, with Dembele having the break, Barcola obviously playing at the weekend, he could be the one that does, of course, make way. And I think, PSG, if they score maybe 1 or 2 more goals, potentially could just take their foot off the gas and kind of just coast the rest of the way and take some of their bigger names off, if they're already through and secure. So I think, we're better chasing some of the games where it's tighter. Probably players are going to play full 90s rather than, of course, looking for a team that are already 3-0 up. And I think that's a similar situation with our strikers as well. Of course, we've got Guirassy at home. He's absolutely smashing it in the Champions League, one of the highest scoring players within the game as well. They've got okay projected numbers heading into this game against Sporting, but like I said, Dortmund's league form and their form in general in 2025 outside of the Champions League has been abysmal. A 2-0 loss to Bochum at the weekend is not what you would be expecting from a Dortmund side. The Champions League has kind of been their only real kind of saving grace this campaign. And I am a little bit reluctant to take Guirassy out, and we'll talk about his potential replacement. I just think because he's been scoring so well of late, I don't really want to replace him. Of course, he's on penalties as well, so it does seem a little bit daft to go and do that. However, I do think there's probably some upside in chasing, somebody like a Vinny or potentially an Mbappe over Guirassy. But let me know what you think down in the comment section on that one. We've got Retugani. I probably have mispronounced it about 8 times already, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is. He's going to be in here as well as our striker. Of course, he is the leading striker out in Italy in the Serie A. We saw really good projected numbers on the betting market for Atalanta. And of course, they do need to go and win this fixture as well if they do want to progress. And I feel he'll he'll definitely have a part in that. The only concern I do have with him, of course, was the early substitution in the last game. That wasn't ideal, him coming off the 70th minute. Not really something I want to be seeing from my assets. However, I do feel we're just going to hold him for this fixture with, of course, Atalanta needing something and with his good goal-scoring prowess this season in Serie A. And then our captain for the Tuesday fixtures is going to be Harry Kane. Pretty much did what he needed to do against Celtic in matchday 9. Just got himself that goal. I think if he could probably get himself 2 attacking returns, I won't switch it away from him. With the fixtures, I believe, being on Wednesday a little bit more difficult to call. With, of course, you know, Dembele cruising already. And I don't know how secure his minutes are going to be. So I think if Kane does deliver the goods, it's going to put us in a very, very good position. In terms of the transfer targets then that I am looking at heading into this week, these are the 2 that I have outlined. It is going to be Timothy Reinders. Obviously, I spoke about wanting an AC Milan attacker to chase their good fixture at home and, of course, them needing the win. And then replacing Guirassy with Vinicius Jr. Now, I thought Vinicius was absolutely incredible at the Etihad. I definitely think he could be a man that could have a very big game at the Bernabeu as well for Real Madrid. And I just think Guirassy probably will score 1. But I don't know if Dortmund are going to go full gun-ho. I'm a little bit unsure of that one. So I would like to go for a tighter game. A game that's going to need a big man to turn up. And I do believe that could be Vinny J. Reinders, like I said, he is purely there to chase the upside. But I'm also looking potentially at a Benfica midfielder. Or potentially somebody like a Phil Foden as well. Who could grab that game by the scruff of the neck. And really attack Real Madrid heading into this fixture. That was my not my transfer targets. That was my team selection ahead of Matchday 10. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Of course, if you've got any questions about your team, get them in the comments as we'll try to answer as many as we possibly can. But thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in Matchday 10.